Hello, welcome to my channel. We have made it through the first 5 books of the Bible, and now we are starting to read the book of Joshua or Yehoshua. The Holy Bible, I would say, is one long story that has as its high point in what is called the New Testament, the coming of Jesus Christ, the birth of God, the Creator, in the flesh. And He came to this earth. He was on a mission. That is why He did not stay very long. In the prophets, it said that He, sadly, seemed to die at an early age, like 30 something, and then He left us. But you have to remember that if you believe that He is God, the Creator, He really is ancient. Like, I say He's infinity years old. He really is, if you really think about it. He's not just quintillions of years old, or He must be so old. He is the infinite God, infinite, eternal God, so He must be infinity years old. And that's a good concept to have, because He is limitless, boundless. Nothing can contain Him, A being like that really is one of a kind. He is the glory of God, the one and only. I am a finite person. There are limits to what I can do. I'm only a certain height. I can only work a certain number of hours every day before getting tired. But not God. He is an indeterminate size. Infinity large. And, He is tireless. In the Bible it says that He neither sleeps nor slumbers. He is omnipotent, all-powerful. And, the craziest one is his age and his size, now that I'm thinking of it, But, He came in the flesh, and that was the high point of the Holy Bible. And then, why did He come? He came to show us the way, how to live. And He came to meet everyone, to see everyone with His own eyes. And people could see Him, because He is the invisible, inaudible, all-powerful God that not only created everything, He remains very involved, but He is mysterious. Even though He is involved, He does things quietly. Like, you can't really perceive what He does. He's like I don't know. When something good happens to you, you probably could thank God, He was behind it. But does He take the credit? He probably doesn't. He's just lovingly, happily, like a father, He's happy that you're happy. And then His main mission was to come and provide for the forgiveness of sins. And there's something about Him rising from the dead, because if He rises from the dead and goes into heaven, and you consider Him your Lord and Master, then you will also rise from the dead and go into heaven, as long as you believe in him, what is called serve or stay close to him, then his power will flow through you. And he is like a good shepherd. He tends and keeps you like a good brother. Am I my brother's keeper? So that is very comforting. Sometimes I wonder. I think back to before I understood Jesus. And, when I thought about dying, I just immediately didn't want to think about it anymore. It's scary, kind of. Okay, let's begin. It's titled Joshua Installed as Leader. So remember, this is one entire long story. Because we will talk about the Lord. That is God. That is Jesus. That is... Remember, God is God in three persons. But I just call Jesus the Lord. He is the second person of the Trinity, the Son of God, the Lord. He is the main... He's the main dude. He's the main dude. His Father is too powerful for us to perceive or to interact with. And the third person of the Trinity, he is like a prophetic spirit that keeps pointing to Jesus, as the main dude again, the main dude. So after the death of Moses, the servant of the Lord is again God, the Creator, mainly the second person of the Trinity, the second person of the God of three persons. It's okay, the Trinity. The Son of God. But in this Holy Bible, he is God himself too. The Lord said to Joshua, son of Nun, that is Yehoshua, Moses' aide. There's nothing wrong with being an aide, but he was always training to take Moses' place. Moses, my servant, is dead. That is what God is saying to Joshua. Now then, you and all these people, get ready to cross the Jordan River into the land I am about to give to them, to the Israelites. I will give you every place where you set your foot, as I promised Moses. Your territory will extend from the desert to Lebanon, and from the great river, the Euphrates, all the Hittite country to the Mediterranean Sea in the west. No one will be able to stand against you all the days of your life. As I was with Moses, so I will be with you. I will never leave you nor forsake you. Be strong and courageous, because you will lead these people to inherit the land I swore to their ancestors to give them. Be strong and very courageous. Be careful to obey all the law my servant Moses gave you. Do not turn from it to the right or to the left, that you may be successful wherever you go. So here in Joshua 1:7, we see why God, the Creator, the Lord Jesus, right? The Lord, he wants people to obey his commandments. It has to do with success. Keep this book of the law always on your lips. Meditate on it day and night, so that you may be careful to do everything written in it. Then you will be prosperous and successful. Have I not commanded you? Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged. For the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go. So Yehoshua, ordered the officers of the people, go through the camp and tell the people, get your provisions ready. 3 days from now, you will cross the Jordan, here to go in and take possession of the land the Lord your God is giving you for your own. But to the Reubenites, the Gadites, and the half tribe of Manasseh, Yehoshua said, remember the command that Moses, the servant of the Lord, gave you after he said, the Lord your God will give you rest by giving you this land. Your wives, your children, and your livestock may stay in the land that Moses gave you east of the Jordan. But all your fighting men, ready for battle, must cross over ahead of your fellow Israelites. You are to help them until the Lord gives them rest, as he has done for you, and until they too have taken possession of the land the Lord your God is giving them. After that, you may go back and occupy your own land, which Moses, the servant of the Lord, gave you east of the Jordan, toward the sunrise. Then they answered Joshua. So these are the Reubenites, the Gadites, and the half tribe of Manasseh. They are tribes of Israel. These are the entire group. They're called Israelites. Then they answered Joshua, whatever you have commanded us, we will do, and wherever you send us, we will go. So they are going to listen to Yehoshua, like they listened to someone else, just as we fully obeyed Moses. So we will obey you. Only may the Lord your God be with you, as he was with Moses. Whoever rebels against your word and does not obey it, whatever you may command them, will be put to death. So whoever rebels against Yehoshua, they're saying, will be put to death. Only be strong and courageous. Let's go to Joshua 2. Joshua 2, the next section is titled Rahab, and the Spies. Spies, like James Bond. Have you heard of James Bond? He is the 007. He is the super spy of England. It's kind of like spy stuff is, perhaps every country has these super spies. They follow rules. They're good spies, not bad spies. And I heard it might be true that England, they have the main office of all the good spies of the world. And only the richest or most developed country, like the United States, might have super spies. And they have rules, and England, they're office of super spies, regulates the entire thing. So then Yehoshua, son of Nun, secretly sent two super spies, from Shittim. Go, look over the land, he said, especially the city. Especially Jericho. It's a city. So they went and entered the house of a prostitute named Rahab, and stayed there. So, they didn't just walk there and, let's check out a prostitute. They're super spies, so, they had to be kind of tricky. And so they just happened to be at the house of Rahab. Verse 2, the king of Jericho was told, look, some of the Israelites have come here tonight to spy out the land. So some of their smarter guys were like, those two super spies. So the king of Jericho sent this message to Rahab. Bring out the men who came to you and entered your house, because they have come to spy out the whole land. And then Rahab was like, what? They're spies? I didn't know that. But the woman had taken the two men and hidden them. But she decided to protect them. She said, yes, the men came to me, but I did not know where they had come from. At dusk, when it was time to close the city gate, they left. I don't know which way they went. Go after them quickly. You may catch up with them. But she had taken them up to the roof and hidden them under the stalks of flax she had laid out on the roof. I don't quite know what flax is. Let's look it up. Google, what's flax? Flax. There's flax seed. Okay, flax. There's a flax bundle. They look like wheat. It looks like wheat. So she had a lot of flax up there. Just bundles and bundles, probably. And then she just hid them under there on her roof. So the men set out in pursuit of the spies on the road, they believed her, that leads to the fords of the Jordan. And as soon as the pursuers had gone out, the gate was shut. So they're shut. The two super spies are trapped, like they're shut in the city. Before the spies lay down for the night, they were going to sleep, she went up on the roof and said to them, I know that the Lord has given you this land, and that a great fear of you has fallen on us, so that all who live in this country are melting in fear because of you. We have heard how the Lord dried up the water of the Red Sea for you when you came out of Egypt. So what God, the Creator, did, what he did, you may have heard of the splitting of the Red Sea. What he did, people at Jericho heard of it and they were afraid. And what you did to Sihon and Og, the two kings of the Amorites east of the Jordan, whom you completely destroyed. When we heard of it, our hearts melted in fear, and everyone's courage failed because of you. For the Lord your God is God in heaven above and on the earth below. please swear to me by the Lord that you will show kindness to my family, because I have shown kindness to you. Give me a sure sign that you will spare the lives of my father and mother, my brothers and sisters, and all who belong to them, and that you will save us from death. Our lives for your lives, the men assured her. If you don't tell what we are doing, we will treat you kindly and faithfully when the Lord gives us the land. So she let them down by a rope through the window, for the house she lived in was part of the city wall. Oh, okay. She said to them, "Go to the hills, so the pursuers will not find you. Hide yourselves there 3 days until they return, and then go on your way." Now the men had said to her, "This oath you made us swear will not be binding on us, unless when we enter the land you have tied this scarlet cord," it's like a red thread, in the window through which you let us down. And unless you have brought your father and mother, your brothers, and all your family into your house. If any of them go outside your house into the street, their blood will be on their own heads. We will not be responsible. As for those who are in the house with you, their blood will be on our head if a hand is laid on them. But if you tell what we are doing, we will be released from the oath you made us swear." "Agreed," she replied. "Let it be as you say." So she sent them away, and they departed. And she tied the scarlet cord in the window. When they left, they went into the hills and stayed there 3 days, until the pursuers had searched all along the road and returned without finding them. Then the 2 men started back. They went down out of the hills, forded the river, and came to Yehoshua, son of Nun, and told him everything that had happened to them. They said to Yehoshua, "The Lord has surely given the whole land into our hands. All the people are melting in fear because of us." Let's go on to Joshua 3. Joshua 3. The next section is titled Crossing the Jordan. Early in the morning, Joshua and all the Israelites set out from Shittim and went to the Jordan, where they camped before crossing over. Okay, remember, this is a lot of people. Enough people to start a small country. So that is the reason they sent spies in. And, because when there are a lot of people, they don't move very quickly. So they went to the Jordan, where they camped before crossing over. After 3 days, the officers went throughout the camp, giving orders to the people. "When you see the Ark of the Covenant of the Lord your God, and the Levitical priests carrying it, you are to move out from your positions and follow it. Then you will know which way to go, since you have never been this way before. But keep a distance of about 2,000 cubits between you and the ark. Do not go near it. So, remember the Israelites, you have to watch my earlier videos. They have been organized into an army with divisions. So Joshua is the general. Joshua is telling people that they have to, the army and all the people, they have to be behind this thing called the Ark of the Covenant. It is like a gigantic rectangular container that is made of gold with like these two winged, fearsome warriors kneeling, in obeisance, respect to God Almighty in heaven, on top of it, made of gold. And there are these rings on the container that you put poles through it. And the rings and the poles are made of pure gold too. And these priests carry it on their shoulders, the poles, and thus they carry the Ark of the Covenant on their shoulders. So, you may have seen war movies, or you could imagine like two armies battling. Usually they don't have priests carrying like this golden container with the 10 Commandments in it. It's kind of freaky if you ask me. Like it's like some kind of holy army. What if you played a team, sports, and they're good. They're a good team, but there's some kind of holy, talented team with priests. But not just priests, they're like wearing white and gold and silver, and they have like gems on them, and it's kind of, I think it would be kind of freaky. It's kind of scary. So they have to be behind it. Joshua told the people, consecrate yourselves, for tomorrow the Lord will do amazing things among you. Joshua said to the priests, take up the Ark of the Covenant and pass on ahead of the people. So they took it up and went ahead of them. And the Lord said to Joshua, today, that is God, the Creator, today I will begin to exalt you in the eyes of all Israel, so they may know that I am with you, as I was with Moses. Tell the priests who carry the Ark of the Covenant, when you reach the edge of the Jordan's waters, go and stand in the river. Joshua said to the Israelites, come here and listen to the words of the Lord your God. This is how you will know that the living God is among you, and that he will certainly drive out before you the Canaanites, Hittites, Hivites, Perizzites, Girgashites, Amorites, and Jebusites. See, the Ark of the Covenant of the Lord of all the earth will go into the Jordan ahead of you. Now then, choose 12 men from the tribes of Israel, one from each tribe. And as soon as the priests who carry the Ark of the Lord of all the earth, set foot in the Jordan, its waters flowing downstream will be cut off and stand up in a heap. So a river normally flows. So the water will stop and then stand up like this. Just stop and stand up in a heap. It's like So when the people broke camp to cross the Jordan, the priests carrying the Ark of the Covenant went ahead of them. Now the Jordan is at flood stage, all during harvest. Yet, as soon as the priests who carried the ark reached the Jordan, and their feet touched the water's edge, the water from upstream stopped flowing. It piled up in a heap a great distance away. At a town called Adam, in the vicinity of Zarethan, while the water flowing down to the Sea of Arabah, that is the Dead Sea, was completely cut off. So remember, Israelites are going into this land, which is where modern day Israel is. So remember, there's a Dead Sea, and then I said there's like the Jordan River is like this, and way up here somewhere is the Sea of Galilee. That's a great distance. So they're near the Dead Sea. So if you're looking at a map of modern day Israel, you just got to find the Dead Sea and the Jordan River, right? And they're just somewhere there. So I guess the river flows from north to south, and it piled up in a heap over here, and then it was cut off to the flow of the river was cut off to the Dead Sea. So that's where they crossed. If you want to have a picture of where they crossed to go into the land. Ooh. Okay. So the people crossed over opposite Jericho. So Jericho, the city called Jericho, from long time ago. That's where it was. Dead Sea, Jordan. It was right there. The priests who carried the Ark of the Covenant of the Lord stopped in the middle of the Jordan and stood on dry ground. So all the water was gone from I guess it's called a bank. Is it called a river bank? But imagine the river was dry. Like rivers, that a river can be deep. So the river stood up like this, and then it's all, there's dry ground, but it could be far down here, because that some rivers are like 30 to 50 feet deep. While all Israel passed by until the whole nation had completed the crossing on dry ground. That is quite an entrance, if you ask me. Let it not be said that, some people can make an entrance to a party. But remember, Moses has passed away, and Yehoshua is the general. And he's leading them in to take over the land. And, they're coming in, right? And there are other people in the land. Some of them are afraid. And that's the way the Lord, leads them in, gives them that kind of entrance. You gotta think of a big river, maybe hundreds and hundreds of feet wide, completely drying up. And then let's say there are people watching. What's going on? The river's drying up, dude. Oh, those are those Israelite guys. What the heck is going on? The river is like standing up, and it's all dry, and what are those guys? They're carrying a gold box, and they're just standing there until that's a lot of people, and they're all crossing where there used to be a river. It's all dry now, and we have to fight those guys. You would think they're like magical, or what kind of people are those? When sometimes people invade, right? Sometimes people will invade your land. They just somehow make a bunch of boats and try to paddle across the river. And then you start to see them with boats, and then you just run out there with your army and with swords and shields and spears and just try to fend them off, right? That's a different kind of entrance. They didn't have boats. God just dried up the river and made it stand up in a heap. I know I did this. And they just crossed over on dry land. And people were like, what kind of people are these? You have to fight those guys? Like, okay, thank you for listening. That was Joshua. We are reading the book of Joshua, chapters 1. That was chapter 1, 2, and 3. Remember, keep God first. He'll take you places.